is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the first episode of the Mile High Killers podcast, the podcast where anything goes. I'm your host and MC, Kanous, and I'm joined by two special guests, Alex Onken and Michael Titera.
Rock on, Chaos!
What's up? Alex, can't just sit there in silence. Come on now.
Hey, don't give me that.
Alright, my co-host Brendan is flipping me the bird in LA. He left me to go to Harry Potter World and did not care about the podcast this week. So this one's going to be a little bit laid down instead of screaming at each other about why DLC is a bad thing.
See about that.
Oh, just you wait. You'll see one of those conversations. He'll tell me spending $30 on something that doesn't come out for a year makes a lot more sense than just waiting. Alright, but this episode we're going to be talking about VR, where it's been, how good it is now, what we've got in store, and what the future looks like. So, real quick, what have you guys heard about any of the VR headsets right now?
Well, let me give you a little bit of my take on VR, because this has been a promising technology for decades. And I mean, even back to the early 80s, dude, I mean, there was stuff out there that was really cool, but the technology and the power and the processors it's just not good enough. And so it was always lagging, never really caught on. Just now, I mean, this last year, it's been kind of exciting, right? All of a sudden things are starting to, come around. And I think now it's starting, it's a promise that this will become, something that everybody can get into. And it's, going from the high end to the low end, everybody's going to touch it, and experience it. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
We've got a couple of pairs of just the Samsung VR goggles. Nothing super special, nothing super crazy. But I don't know. When we first got those, we all spent a couple hours playing around with them. It's really amazing what you can do. I mean, when you can, actually like play games and not be sitting there on a controller, but you're looking around and you've got a 360-degree view of whatever you're looking at. It's really kind of exhilarating.
Yeah. So I think
I can only imagine doing doing Call of Duty on virtual reality.
Yeah. I think from what I've learned from last year, it's always been the HTC Vive is the one to get if you have the strong enough PC, and then the Oculus, and then the PlayStation VR came in basically out of nowhere saying, all right, here's a cheap headset. It'll work with everything, do anything you basically want, and that's the one I have. So I think the Vive's about $800. The Rift, because I had the Rift for about 45 minutes, was about $500. And then so I had the starting kit for the PlayStation VR, so it shot me back about $600. But that came with everything, stuff like that. But I think it's about $399 for the PlayStation VR. And I know Microsoft, they have the HoloLens, don't they?
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I think when we
that's mostly going to be augmented reality, so it's a little different than VR. But we'll see Microsoft in the game this year, I think, probably this summer. But it's going to be different. It's completely different. It's not true VR. It's I don't know, and it's actually kind of exciting as well. Augmented reality, have you looked into it at all?
Not really. I know I've looked at it a couple times, because at first when they first came out with it, they were like, oh, we're just showing you this, but it's not coming out anytime soon. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll check you out in 4 years and see where you're at. And then also, like, I've seen all the dev kits, how expensive they are, and I said, man, this thing's going to be like over $1,000 at least, just for when it comes out. I just think it's too expensive right now, which I guess I understand, but I'm pretty sure they're still in development thing, because I think the last time I saw they said anything was I don't know if it was last year or something like that, and they were showing off the Minecraft demo, the Halo one, and that was it. And then I think they've been pretty radio silent for a while.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we'll probably start to see something maybe this summer, and then they'll have something maybe for Christmas. But it will be interesting as far as gameplay as well. Having, looking, they're going to have to come up with different kind of games, because you're actually seeing your real environment with, items in your real environment. So the gameplay is going to be completely different. It'll be interesting, though. I'm excited for it as well. And also, augmented reality will be good for the workplace and other kind of areas. So I'm hopeful they'll do good. I mean, Microsoft actually is, in the last year or two, they've become a new company. I mean, they're kicking Apple's butt, actually. I mean, seriously, Apple just released the new MacBook Pros, and they're not really made for the powerful creative. They're made for the casual mobile user that's just kind of into looks. And Microsoft came out with the Surface Studio, which is an incredible 28-inch display desktop that you can actually draw on. I mean, that thing is intense. It actually looks like what Apple should have created.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks like something Apple would have created, just a giant iPad on top of something. And they have the iPad Pro, but even then it's still like, you can only do so much on an iPad. Then they're like, oh no, you need to buy our Mac that has 2 ports. Have a nice day.
Right.
Well, no, but one of the other things is Microsoft's made the tablets into something that you can use anything on. They've given it the PC operating system. They've got Windows 10 on them, or the original Surface, I think, had Windows 8 on it.
Yeah.
And it's the same operating system as, say, our computers, assuming you're using a PC, a newer one anyway. And I know a guy that's got one, and we were shooting last weekend, and we used the Surface to review footage in Premiere, and so you can run pretty powerful applications on them. It's pretty ridiculous. To my knowledge, the iPad is not running programs like that. The whole thing. They've got the mobile app version of it, which is Premiere Clip, which you can put on all the mobile devices, but you don't actually get to use the whole software, and you can't put SD cards into, iPads and that kind of thing. So I think Microsoft's definitely jumped ahead with that, with the services.
Microsoft, the new Apple.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I like about Apple is that the phones are great. The OS for the phone is I like it a lot more than, because I had an Android phone. Oh, it was terrible. I hated the thing. I'd lose service within a whole, all right, what phone is that?
LG V20.
Well, I had
two cameras.
I had an HTC, so it was pretty bad.
Oh, well, there's your problem right there.
I was looking at the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, because I like the little Edge thingamajig, but it all depends. I don't really, my sister has the 7, so it's like, I don't really want to sit there and have to buy a dongle for everything I want. You get a dongle, and you get a dongle.
Yeah, one of my coworkers has that, and at least once a week he's freaking out. He's like, "Where'd my cord go? Where'd my cord go?" Because he can't plug the headphones, or he can't plug into the auxiliary in his Jeep, because he's got to have that plug on it, and you don't want to keep a plug on it in your pocket while you're carrying it around all day and whatnot. You'll break it or lose it, or
Well, speaking of iPhone versus Android, there's really no applications for VR on the iPhone. I mean, Google, of course, came out with Daydream View, and that will work on any Android that's running 7.0 Nougat. And Samsung Gear VR only actually works on the Samsung phones, like the Galaxy 7 and stuff. It's cool. Google came out with this Daydream View, which is kind of like the cardboard, but now it's like a much better device. Yeah, actual headset. Yeah, and it's only $79. You're going to get what you pay for. It's not going to be the greatest, and of course you got to have your own phone in there. But when referring to iPhone, I don't think there's anything VR for iPhone, is there?
I think basically only like some of the YouTube 360-degree videos. Other than that, I don't think so.
Yeah, nothing you can wear, right? I mean, nothing you put on your face. Yeah, okay.
So speaking of the 360-degree view cameras, I actually looked into a couple of those a couple months ago, shortly after getting the drone.
You talking about like that little circle one with the hexagons all over it or whatever?
Yeah, the 360 Fly is a 4K 360-degree camera. We've looked at doing a couple of different things for a group that I'm in at school, or it's actually a class now. But we've done plenty of video shoots, and we've always got something new, something different going, and one of these days, one of us is going to end up breaking down and spending $500 and buying that thing, and then we're going to be like, all right, well, we need to stop and think about this, because what are we going to do with a 360-degree image?
We have the budget.
We have to position what we want, and then it's a really cool effect. You could like flip over and all kinds of stuff with it in post, which it brings up a whole new set of potential. And then for the VR goggles and the everything, virtual reality, anything, it offers a really cool feel for some things that are decently expensive, like skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a virtual reality skydiving.
I still want to do that.
It'd be pretty cool if you went to like Sky Zone or something and had the goggles on.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I'm talking like if I was sitting on my bed with the VR headset on, I wouldn't want to just look down and see nothing. Just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
You jump forward and fall off a step while you're falling out of the airplane or something.
Why jump out of a perfectly good airplane? That's my theory.
Well, regarding devices, I mean, I think we're in agreement. There's probably only like 5 players out on the market, maybe 6. I don't know. Tell me if you agree. So the Sony PlayStation VR,
yep.
HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, Samsung Gear VR, and the Google Daydream View. Although I hear good things about the Samsung Gear VR, I almost kind of throw it out because it only works on Samsung phones, and if you don't have one.
It's not a smooth image either. It's a very pixelated image in there. If you're playing games and stuff.
I will say that too about for the PlayStation VR. It's always it's dumbed down a little bit because they have to be able to have it because it's literally just another. So it's not exactly 1080 for all of them, but it's pretty close to it.
Right. Yeah.
But like watching Netflix and that kind of thing, I mean, if you're watching like TVs or videos or, doing a virtual reality skydive or whatever, you're just watching a 360-degree camera that was recorded in 4K and probably, rendered out at 1080 or 720 even, in which case, you're looking at a pretty sharp image and there's still a lot of high-res video to look at there, and you get a good effect. But there's some stuff that just it's better on some items than others. Some videos and some games versus others.
Yeah. Well, so out of those 5 devices, we're basically looking at 2 different categories. I mean, one is the mobile, where you're not tethered, and that's the cheaper option, and you're probably going to get lower quality. And then you got the other end with the Rift and the Vive and the PlayStation. And maybe the PlayStation, compared to the other 2, is a little bit lower quality, but the price entry and the ability to get into the PlayStation, I think is very appetizing. I mean, I think that's where a lot of people, and it sounds like, Connor, that's what you went with, where the Vive and the Rift are expensive, but then you need a really powerful computer to run them as well. Where the PlayStation, you just hook it in your PlayStation 4 and you're ready to roll. For $400 plus, what is it?
It's the move controllers or whatever.
The move controllers, right?
Some of the games you need the move controllers specifically, and some of them will give you a choice. Do you want to use a controller? Do you want to use the move controllers? Because so I have a couple of them. I ended up buying a bunch of them when I first got it. So I have Batman Arkham VR. That one is 100% the move controllers. Which the funny thing is, so my setup for it is basically just my bed, and then I have the camera on top of my TV. I can't reach some of the stuff because if I try to do that, I'm hitting the bed. So like some of them, it's like I can't do. But so like I have Drive Club VR, and that's basically just you're using just the DualShock 4, and then it's pretty cool how you do it. So you start, and then you can position yourself in the car, and then either like you can. For some reason, I glitched it out once to the point where I had it all the way up, and my head was sticking out of the car, so I could see like the top of the car and look down and see like the hood of the car. But basically, so you can either do first-person driving and then like look around as you're at the scenery and everything, or you can just stare straight forward and keep turning it. You'll turn your head usually when you're taking the turns and everything. I will say about like those games, because Drive Club is apparently one of the worst rated ones. Somewhat, because everyone's like, oh, I got sick. I played it for about 5 minutes and got sick. I haven't had that problem. There was only one game so far I've gotten nauseous of. It was off the PSVR Worlds, and so that has about 6 games. One of them was a downhill racer where you're on your back and you have to steer with your head. So if you're making a sharp turn, you got to go like that. And when you're sitting there trying to look to make sure you're not going to hit anything, that'll get you sick and everything. But so a lot of the games aren't that bad for getting nauseous and everything. I have one of the horror ones too. I have not played Resident Evil 7 in VR yet. I'm still trying to finish that first.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a huge factor, is being, some people, I think something like 10% of the population is going to get nauseous no matter what, playing VR. So that's kind of a hit in the market. And then I think just the quality of the VR unit, the better the quality, of course, the more realistic it feels like, and then maybe less nauseous you become. But as soon as there's any lag or anything, that's when your body and your mind and your eyes all are not in sync. It's like, whoa, what the heck? So, but as far as the PlayStation, I mean, if you've got a PS4, what is it? It's $400 for the headset and then $50 for the camera and the controller bundle or something like that. So if you already have a PS4, bam, $450, you're ready to roll. So that seems like a good entry into VR.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, actually, I think someone figured out that you can get it to work with the Xbox, but it's stuck in theater mode. So what Alex was saying, like playing the Call of Duty in VR, it doesn't have VR capability, but what you do, like, because I did it zooms in the picture, and you can look around kind of. It's just like you're in your own private theater thing or whatever. You got your 2 earbuds in, and then you can look, and basically, I've done it a couple times. It actually... If you want to be able to be close to a screen, it's the best way to play it, in my opinion, instead of just sitting away from it. But, yeah, and then also the Move controllers are only, like I said again, for like some specific games. I think back in the PS3 when they had the Move controllers, they had the little shooter gun for, I think, some of the games. I don't exactly remember how many it was. Yeah, it was. I think it was basically looked like the Wii shooter, which you had the controller and the nunchuck in the back shooting, and then I think this one was just you put the Move controller in and then something else. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, it had a trigger built into it that would push the B button on the back of the Move controller.
Yeah, and I think actually you can use the old Move controllers as long as you have them like synced up to the PS4 or something. Because if they have the micro USB on the bottom of it, all you got to do is plug in the one that it comes with. And then it should work, because I think, what did mine come with? It came with 2 Move controllers, the headset, and then the camera. And then also what's cool, once you get the camera, you finally have the voice commands for the PlayStation. Now they're a bit janky. I'd be sitting there just waiting for something to download with nothing on there, and just the camera sitting there, and it would hear something I'm listening to and think I'm saying PlayStation. So it would pop up and be like, what do you need? And I'd be like, I didn't say anything. And it's better than... For that, it's basically, for the cameras and stuff, the Kinect is the better one, in my opinion. I mean, they're taking away all the functions from it now, because everyone's like, oh, I hate the snap function. Oh. So the Xbox One's basically turning into a whole nother console. Also, I want to state this, the PS4 is finally getting external hard drive support next update.
Nice.
Yeah. I got 70 gigs left, and I can put in a 1 terabyte drive into it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's one thing that they kind of... I don't know. I feel like they should try and do better on the next time. Is
it's
storage.
It's the one thing that Xbox had on them for a while. Like, I have a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte thing plugged into my Xbox. I used it at first when I first used to really just play my Xbox One. It was all you had to do, plug it in, formats it, done. I think that's basically what they're doing in this next update, which means I'm gonna go get a 3 terabyte and then I'll never need space ever again.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed to hear that. That the PS4 is not going to have it doesn't have a Blu-ray player in it. Is that right? Does your PS4 have a Blu-ray player?
Yeah, mine does. I think it...
Yours is the older version. Okay, so the new one does not. Yeah, I was kind of bummed about that. Because I have a PS3 with Blu-ray, and my and actually, side note is it only actually plays DVDs, doesn't even play Blu-rays anymore. I know, so I'm freaked out. So I've been thinking about getting a PS4, And then, but then I heard it doesn't have a Blu-ray player. Although I don't really play Blu-ray discs anymore, anyways. So it's like I guess it doesn't really matter. But it was kind of a bummer that they just took it out because it'd just be a nice, nice thing to have, I guess, just in case.
Yeah, that was if you ever tell Brendan that Blu-rays aren't worth it, he'll sit there and yell at you how I can see that 2 pixels and it'll make a difference.
Oh no, I'm just saying nowadays. Yeah. You pretty much watch everything online. You're streaming or you're online, so you're not. My wife will pick up Redbox, but she just, she gets a DVD. But yeah, I agree. Blu-ray I like so much better than DVDs. But
plus, what usually I'll have to do, because all the digital HD copies only come in the Blu-ray, so it's like, okay, I'll spend the extra $3 so I can get the digital HD copy with it. I've actually learned about Vudu. Because at first I thought it was just a Walmart exclusive thing. Oh, Vudu is amazing. It's basically, it takes your code, then you can immediately send it to download just offline and everything.
Yep. Yeah, you can have it all, downloaded and ready to play anytime offline.
Yeah. And plus, I have a Roku TV, so I can have the channels Netflix, Vudu, and I think the CW or something. So it's I can sit there and just, watch any movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, speaking about PlayStation VR, I think, it's a great entry if you already have PS4 to get into VR, $450. Mm-hmm. I think the better technically device is probably the HTC Vive. I've heard a lot of great things about that. Technically probably superior as far as, the image and the moving. In fact, it has 2 motion controllers, so you can be in a 10-foot cube area and walk around and it will track you. And then it also has motion controllers as well. But at $800, and that's just for the device, just for the Vive is $800. Then you got to spend at least another $1,000 or more on a really capable PC.
Yeah.
So, and it's not as easy, right? A lot of people don't throw a PC in their living room and hook it all up and go that route. So, even though I think the Vive is technically superior, I don't know if it's as convenient as the PlayStation.
Yeah, because the PlayStation, I think my setup was about 15 minutes. You had to sit there and you had to. The only weird thing about it was, so now I have a thing sitting on top of the PS4 that has 3 HDMI cables in it, and then also for some reason I left 4 HDMI things or 4 wires hooked up to the. There's Alex.
Alex is gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will never hear from Alex ever again. Got him back in here. Oh, well, you can take a picture. Alex. Oh, never mind. He's already technically on the call. He just left.
He's gone, huh?
I think so.
Oh, maybe he'll join in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think we're in agreement. Vive is probably the best, but it's just... it's going to be expensive to get in, and same with the Rift. The Rift it's cheaper than the Vive, about $200 cheaper, but the same problem. You got to hook it up to a really, powerful PC. For a living room situation, it's probably not that convenient. For your computer room, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the Vive. He's back. No, he's gone. Where is he? Oh, there he is. So the Oculus Rift, though, you got to really hand it to Oculus. Palmer Luckey kind of started the VR revolution as far as the recent revolution. Like I said, the revolution before went back into the early 80s. That's when we thought we were going to get VR.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Palmer Luckey came along with Oculus and said, no, we can do much better and we're going to make this thing happen. And he, to his credit, he got the ball rolling again. And then Facebook, Zuckerberg, Mark, he just said, this is going somewhere. So he bought Oculus, of course. So Facebook owns it now. And so they think it's going to go somewhere. So to your first point of, is VR around here to stay? I think it is. I think we're still in the infancy of the new revolution of VR. But I think, in the next 2 or a year or two, you're going to see it much better. And it's just devices are going to get better. And but I also like the mobile options too, like the Google Daydream. I mean, just to get your casual user into it and just trying it out, and then they experience it and they're like, okay, this was cool, but I want something better. And so then they move on up to something like PlayStation or the HTC Vive.
Yeah, actually, didn't Oculus just get done with the whole court thing with ZeniMax or something like that? I thought they were in court for having stolen assets or something.
Oh, really? No, I didn't. I don't know.
It was a good amount of money, I think, that they sued him for, because I think it was one person that was working on Oculus stole assets from another company he was at that had VR stuff and just brought it over or something like that. So I guess now they're trying to get rid of Oculus 100%, or I don't know. But
I don't know. Well, now that Facebook owns them, Facebook has all the money in the world, so they're right behind
sit
Apple.
There and be like, have $100 million.
Yeah, exactly.
$100 million.
So if there is a legitimate lawsuit, I mean, Facebook could probably just pay it off and and continue and not have an issue. So I do, like I said, I think the Rift would probably be maybe right behind the Vive as far as being technically cool, but with Facebook's money, maybe the Rift, the next version of the Rift will be even better than the Vive. So.
Alex, if you were to get one, which one would you get? Saying that you have a PlayStation 4, don't you? No?
No.
Okay. But say you were looking for a VR, would you spend the extra $300? Because I think the Slim for the PS4 is only $350 or something like that. So would you be willing to spend the extra $300 to get the console with it? Or would you rather just spend $800 and get the Vive or the Rift?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't used any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from what I've heard, what I've seen, the one for the PlayStation is really high quality. I mean, it's a great value. So I mean, getting the PS4 and getting the PlayStation VR would probably be the way I would want to go, unless I was considering using it for more, like, doing stuff on the computer, gaming a little more hardcore or something with it, or if I was going to try and make videos with, like a VR video, and, I can use it to kind of view what I've actually got.
Yeah.
I can look around and see, well, all right, well, this is a good spot, or, well, no, this isn't. I mean, being the viewer of this, I'm going to be like, wow, this is sickening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Brendan, oh, this is really cool.
And, Brendan actually tried out the Oculus at Park Meadows. They had it at the Microsoft store. He said he was almost getting sick just playing the Minecraft VR and everything. So it's like some people just. You put it on there and you can give them the most simplest game that if they turn their head too much, they're going to get sick. That's the main thing about it. It's like you have to know not to snap your head enough to the point where like it can give you sickness easy, because it's basically like you're on a roller coaster. It's like if you look down too fast, you're going to know that it's going to make you throw up. And then also what I'm looking forward to for the headsets is finally not being strapped onto something. So right now, if the PlayStation VR, if I didn't have my stuff plugged into the console, I'd be able to move around a lot more. Not saying I can't now, but it's like if I turn my head too much, I got wires wrapping around and everything like that. But I'm pretty sure I think at one point they're gonna have like a whole battery pack that you'll just be wearing. It'll have the console or something that'll like Bluetooth connect to the console, and then everything will be hooked up from there. Because I think right now what the Vive has is it has less wires, because you have these cameras that are probably about the size of a tripod or a little bit bigger that you put in four corners of the room, and then it picks you up right in the middle, and you have this giant space to just do everything.
Right.
But, right now it's just like the motion tracking. It's here, but for like the lower tier ones, it's like you're getting only some of it, to the point where it's gonna work, but just you won't have that much space. Because I think the PlayStation VR, for me, is probably about the size of our Skype windows. That's about the space I technically have when it's trying to pick me up with the camera and everything.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I know we talked about HoloLens from Microsoft, but Microsoft is working with some manufacturers to come out with their own headsets, their own VR headsets. They'll be Windows 10 compatible, and then play Steam games and stuff like that. So we'll probably see that as well. And the headsets are supposed to be fairly cheap. They're supposed to be like $300. But nothing out in the wild right now, so we got nothing to compare, right? The only thing we've seen is the HoloLens, which like we talked about before, looks very exciting. Probably less less game-ish, but more workplace-ish. I don't know.
Well, what I see him doing is like apparently I don't remember where it was. I was heard it from another thing I was looking at about the HoloLens and stuff like that. Apparently for some places for like the construction, like for like the what is it? Like the piers with all the big shipping containers and stuff, they have a HUD on their machine to like tell them where to go and stuff like that. So like I could see like someone picking up HoloLens and being like, okay, erase everything that has to do with the gaming and like the entertainment and stuff, and just put it so that we can set waypoints and stuff like that. So that's like the big thing. I think it'll be like, I'm with you for businesses and stuff like that. It's gonna be huge. They can be there like even at like a desk job. You could be sitting there and it could send you a whole list of what you have to do. Kind of like what was Google's thing? Google Glass that I guess
Google
is not
Glass, right?
Anymore. Or is that completely dead now? Like Google Fiber?
My brother works at Google, and it's not completely dead. There's still promise that they'll come out with another version, but the current version of it is dead. They're not releasing anymore. But I like that idea, right? I mean, something where if it helps, if it's an assistant to you in your everyday life or work or whatever, and it somehow is not intrusive, and it just works, if it adds benefit, then I'm all for it. Just like bring it on. But going to your point about being tethered like to the PlayStation or to a PC, you're right. Once that's eliminated, that you're not tethered and you got a battery, in your headset or whatever, and you can walk around. Once that happens, that's it. I mean, I think VR will finally, be home or, become everybody's gaming tool. It'll be I mean, because that's kind of why the mobile, with the Google Daydream is becoming popular, is because there is no wires, even though it's not as cool as the other devices. It's just, if you make it convenient for a consumer, then consumers will jump in. It doesn't have to be the best, It doesn't have to be the best. It just has to be convenient. It has to be a low price, and it has to work just good enough, and then consumers will jump all over it.
Yeah, Nintendo was talking about with the Switch, because everyone was asking, are you going to have a headset with it or anything like that? Because right now, the whole reason the Switch is popular and the whole reason I bought it is the tablet. I bought it because I don't have to sit there and have everything plugged into it. I can take it with me. It's got a USB-C cord, so all I got to do is plug it in. It's basically a tablet that can play Zelda, and it's basically a better iPad, I'll put it that way, with the Wii U interface. And Nintendo was saying, they said we can do it, but they were talking about it, how only some people are going to want to sit there and have so much, because I think a lot of their games are like the movement controls and stuff like that, and it's like no one's going to want to sit there if it's like all you're doing is making one movement and you just look and it's just a black screen. It's like, why would you want to make a VR headset for that? But I'm kind of iffy about that. I'd rather they just leave it, because Nintendo's never really been good with like, hey, you're doing that, let us do it too. Because I mean, look at the Wii U. No, it's Wii U's officially dead now. They finished making them. The reason the Switch is going to be popular is because everybody loves the 3DS. I had my 3DS. I loved it to death. The only reason I traded it was because it's like, okay, I have basically like a portable Wii U that I can take wherever I want. I can play good games on it, and I think they were saying it's like a 6-hour battery life. So there's a plane ride right there for you.
Yep. That's cool. Awesome. Sweet. All right. So, I don't know. Let's take a vote or something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, here's my take. You guys, I think for consumers right now, the easiest to get into is Google Daydream. But again, you have to have an Android unit is 7.0 or higher. I think that's the easiest for consumers to get into. But as far as the best bang for the buck, I'm going to go with the Sony PlayStation VR. Then, if you want something a little better and willing to spend, I'm going with the HTC Vive. And then I think less technical is the Oculus Rift. And then on the bottom of my list really is the Samsung Gear VR, even though it's better than the Google Daydream View. But because you have to have a Samsung phone, to me that I don't know. I just think it's a no deal. So I'm all right. So my top 5. Here we go. Sony PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, Samsung Gear VR, and Google Daydream View. I'll probably switch those last two. That's what I'm going with. What are you guys doing?
All right, Alex.
I mean, I've played around with the Oculus at Best Buy, and they're pretty crazy. I haven't used the Vive. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I don't actually know anybody that has them, either one. But the PlayStation one, for being a great value, is it's a great way to get into it if you're just starting. And then, like Michael said, the Gear VR it's cool and all. It's not super practical for much. Not really in my eyes. Unless you're, the one thing it works really good for is, if you're like on a plane or something, you can watch Netflix or something. You got Voodoo movies downloaded. You can watch them through that, and you can have your own thing going, and you don't have to bring your laptop or your iPad out and worry about it being charged. Most people get onto a plane or on a bus and they're on their cell phone, watching TV, watching movies, whatever. It makes it a little more convenient, I think. And then the Google Daydream, I actually didn't hear about it until just now tonight. So
I think they announced it with like their Google phone and everything when the newest one or whatever, the Google
Pixel.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard, like I said, my brother works at Google, and the Pixel phone with the Google Daydream View, a lot of people are just loving it. They're having fun because it's easy. It's $79 to pick it up, and you throw your phone on it, and you're having fun. It's like I said, it's probably the least technical as far as advanced. I don't know, technology in it, but it's the easiest to get into. So It's your gateway drug.
Yeah, so my top one obviously is going to be the PSVR because I was lucky. I've had a PS4 since I think the year it came out. So I've had it for a while, and then it makes the games a lot better. I like the whole theater mode where I can, if I really feel like I don't want to sit here and try to focus like 100% on looking where I need to go and everything, I can just put the headset on and it's basically my own theater. Also because they have 3D Blu-ray support coming in the same update that the hard drive support's coming, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then I'm going to put the Oculus next just because it's the cheaper one for if you have a good enough PC, because basically if you have a good enough PC for the Vive and can't afford it, you're going to just go get the Oculus anyways, and it's going to look a little bit different. But so the Oculus, because again, I had it for about 45 minutes, installed everything, till it told me I couldn't run it, and I was like, oh, I gotta go back to Park Meadows as fast as I can. So I got that, and then the Vive will go right after that, because if I had a powerful enough computer, that's the one I would probably save up for, and just be like, okay, it looks cool. I've heard everyone say that it's one of the best things for VR and everything, and get that. And then basically the two mobile ones are my lower ones. I've tried the Gear VR at Best Buy and everything like that, and I mean it was okay. It's like you were saying, it's like the beginner for the VR headsets. But other than that, I mean, I would probably just get you can get the Google Cardboard, or I'm pretty sure there's a tutorial to make your own Google Cardboard or something like that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, too.
Yep. All right.
Cardboard one. Walmart has the cardboard ones now.
They do.
Yeah, the Walmart out in Elizabeth does anyway. They got a whole display of cardboard VR goggles.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. I want to thank you two for being the first guest on the Mile High Killer Podcast.
Woohoo!
And this is going to be uploaded both on the Mile High Killer Podcast Facebook page and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MrSynchronizedGaming. Links are in the description. Go ahead and sub to that channel if you want to see more. I think I'm going to do every Saturday. Every Saturday seems about probably the amount I need to do it for. And leave a comment if I should bring these 2 whack jobs back. And I will see you next week with another episode with the Screaming Madman, Brendan Glenn. And peace out.
Thanks, Chaos.
Yep.
Deuces.